Hey everyone, this is Mike Matsuno, and welcome to the Man in Japan channel. I am back here in Honolulu, Hawaii, and I just thought I would do a quick live stream today and just some initial impressions about what I actually see when I first come off the plane, and how some of them compare to Japan, and how some of them are actually, can be similar also. As when you come off a plane normally, I always thought that every airport has a kind of a smell, a scent, right? And Hawaii definitely has a kind of scent when you come off the plane. It's one of like flowers of like almost like you can almost like an orchid smell, but you can definitely know when you come off the plane, not only the feel of the air, but there's a definite scent. And I think every airport does have a scent. Like Kix has their own in Kansai, and Thailand in Bangkok definitely has a certain scent. So yes, coming off the plane in Hawaii, of course, was something like, oh yeah, I'm home again, right? And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Mike Matsuno. I do I make videos, I do live streams just on different topics, usually related to Japan. But sometimes when I move about, I'll do a little bit of a comparison. That's what I'm going to do today. Talking about some of the things that after leaving Japan and arriving in Honolulu 2 weeks ago, that I kind of have been feeling and seeing. Now, usually I ask all of you out there, thank you for the comments. Audio is good. Thank you, J Star. Cheryl, thank you. Mosotube, you're here. Good to see you from Canada. So if anyone has any questions or any comments, please put them in. Please write them in. And sometimes I don't know all the answers. And so a lot of times the people who are listening know more than I do, and they can answer you on the comments. The first thing that I miss, and I know all of you are going to say, yeah, he always says the same thing, is guess what? I miss the Japanese toilets, the toto, the air wash. I mean, the water washlets. I cannot emphasize enough. After before doing a lot of traveling, and also like as you get older, you realize that the going to the bathroom is an important function, of course, but also that with the washlet, it's very quick and clean and easy. And especially when you travel, many times you're not always regular, and sometimes it's more, I don't know what the word is, but it's not always the easiest flowing. It's not, doesn't flow like always. And so with the Japanese washlet system, it's so clean and it's so easy compared to when I come back to Hawaii. I'm here staying with my auntie, and of course she has the traditional regular American style toilets with toilet paper, and of course that makes it much more rough, I guess is the word I could use. What I also realize is I just went to my friend's house last night, and people in Hawaii are now putting in the Toto toilets. I know it's not cheap. It's not cheap in Japan either, but it's more expensive out here, especially if it's exported. And with the Trump tariffs, I'm sure it's going to go up even higher. But people are putting it in, and I'm happy to see it because of course I'm not always there to use those toilets. However, I think like it's good. So slowly, more people are using and inputting the Japanese washlet toilets. Hi, Guy. Japan has a scent too. Okay, so Guy, what is that scent when you arrive in Kix or in Haneda or Narita? Any of you? What do you smell? Do you smell like, I don't know, miso soup, or do you smell like a certain kind of scent? But yes, every airport has. So in the comments, if any of you have, what is the scent of the Japanese airport the moment you arrive and come off? I think in Thailand, it's kind of a flowery scent. Yeah. Mosotube writes Toto, the Rolls Royce of toilets. Yeah, there are several other makers that is cheaper than Toto, Toto. But yes, Toto is the Rolls Royce or the highest level of brand, and they are the most expensive. And I did go and visit Toto shops in Tokyo because I made a video up about it. If you're interested, you can look on my YouTube channel page, and you can see that I did a video on to me, the most important thing, the thing I miss the most when I leave Japan are the Japanese Toto toilets, right? Guy, let's see, Jeanette, more like output. Output. What does that mean, Jeanette? You mean like hard to hear, or are you talking about, oh, are you talking about the toilet? If it's a toilet, I understand. Um, Guy writes, kind of an old scent to me. Huh, interesting. What does an old scent smell like? Is that like, sometimes in old Japanese homes, you'll smell like the old tatami or the old futon. And it definitely is kind of a, I don't want to say a stale smell, but it's kind of a distinctly old smell, which is not really that nice, I would say. It's not horrible, but it's distinctly an old smell. Is that what you mean? Oh, okay, okay, Jeanette, thank you. So Bob writes, not going to lie, sometimes when arriving in Japan while waiting in the immigration line, it can smell a BO. Okay, you keep me, it's a BO smell. Not the not the nicest smell for Japan. So again, everyone is different. It could be who you're standing next to, who arrived at the same time as you, or or just by chance. But again, in Hawaii, it's always a very, very nice smell. I think most people tell me too, when they arrive, as soon as they get off the plane, that scent makes them feel very, very welcome. I'm going to just talk about a couple of things that I did notice. And first, I'm going to talk a little bit about non-alcoholic beer. Okay. So what has happened recently is that Japan has started to really push out non-alcohol beer. And all the big companies like Asahi, Suntory, Sapporo, Kirin all came out with their version, of course. And for me, I always thought like it's just like decaffeinated coffee, right? Why are you gonna buy decaffeinated coffee if there's no caffeine? Because that's why you drink it usually. It's kind of like you want that boost of energy or that hit. And beer was the same thing. Why would you create non-alcoholic beer, right? Because you don't get the buzz or the hit or the burn, And so I used to laugh and kind of mock. I still mock decaffeinated coffee, but also like, non-alcoholic beer. And it was back last year. I was riding the Shimanami Kaido with my friends from Alaska. And if you see the can of the Asahi, let me see if I can bring that up here. Asahi, let me just show you a couple of things first. Oh, so before I show you, I just wanted to explain is so I started drinking. I'm sorry, I went on the Shimanami Kaido, and the Asahi can, the non-alcohol beer, looks almost exactly like the regular beer can. I went to the convenience store, not even thinking. I was kind of busy. I grabbed one of the Asahi beer cans, bought it, paid, went to the hotel, and when I got to the hotel, I was opening it, and then I realized, oh no, this is non-alcoholic beer. I'm going, oh wow. I'd already opened it, as well as I didn't want to walk back. So I decided, okay, just drink it and see. I'm thinking, oh, what a waste of money, right? I didn't even know what it cost at that time. I drank it. But when I drank it, I thought, this is not bad. It actually tastes kind of good. And it didn't have any calories, and it actually had the burn. And so then I thought, wow, this might be a good idea to drink one regular beer with alcohol and drink this, because you get 0 calories and you don't have to worry about drinking too much, and go back and forth. So I did that trip. I would drink one regular beer, and then one glass, and I'd pour another glass of the non-alcoholic and go back and forth. So I still feel like I'm getting that whole beer feeling and getting full on beer, as well as still getting a little bit of that buzz. Okay, so that happens last year. Then I don't drink non-alcoholic beer again until about 2 months ago on NHK. They were doing a show about the non-alcohol beer market. So I was watching, and what they were saying is that Japan has taken it to a very high level. Like all the makers. And Japan, alcohol-wise, they are like one of the best as far as innovative. So I always say that many of the Japanese are not so innovative in different areas, but beer is one of them. And alcohol is that they are really one of the fastest growing as far as the most risk-taking. So all of them have come out, the big four beer makers. So I'm watching, and then they started explaining how a lot of people who drink a lot started to drink the non-alcoholic beer to cut down on their drinking because of health reasons, of course. But also, they were saying that it tastes really good, and that the color was good, the foam was fine, and everything was very much like beer. And so I'm watching that going, huh? And I had that kind of good experience back on the Shimanami. So then I decided, you know what? I want to try again. So I went to the store and I bought two different kinds, all free. I think it was Suntory and Asahi. And then for those, I tried one night. You know what? I poured the beer. I look at the color. The Asahi and even the Suntory, all free, look very close to the color of the regular beer. The foam looked good, the way it poured. And when I drank it, I still got the burn. You know how you get that burn when you drink beer? And then you didn't get the actual hit like with an alcohol hit. But I don't know if it was placebo effect or something. But even after drinking it, it's not that I felt a little bit drunk or anything, but I felt like a little bit like, oh, I'm getting some kind of, I don't know, like a hit, like I'm feeling a little bit like I'm drinking alcohol. I know this sounds strange, and that's what they said on the TV show too. That the people said, I actually feel like I'm still drinking alcohol, and I thought, nah, right? But I had that feeling, and I'm going, holy cow! And what I also found out is after drinking it, after drinking one can of the non-alcoholic beer, that I was satisfied because it's like in the summer it's super hot. You come in and you want that beer, right? Especially in Japan, it's 95 degrees and 68% humidity. You come home and you want that beer, that cold beer, right? Well, I started drinking the non-alcoholic beer, and by the time I finished that can, I was satisfied and I didn't crave more alcohol or another beer. It was really weird. And then I tried the other all free and similar, about almost about the same price I think they were. So what I started doing is for the rest of the summer, well, since about what, 7 weeks ago, I started drinking non-alcoholic beer every day. And it would satisfy my quench my thirst for the beer. I wasn't over drinking. I had one, and it was all zero calories, zero fat, zero everything, zero, 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 zero. It was amazing. I thought it's almost like drinking free. I mean, I'm like not having to worry. You're not feeling bad the next day or morning, and you're not putting on weight and all of that. It's like drinking free. And it was 600 yen for 6 beers, so 100 yen a can. So basically 75 cents a can. So you're getting 75 cents a can compared to beer is what, about 300, 350, so about 260 to $3 a can for regular beer. The difference is almost what, 3 to 4 times. So I'm thinking like, wow, I'm getting away with something great, right? So then I come to Hawaii, right? And then I said, you know what, I'm gonna do the same protocol. So I go to Safeway, I look, I cannot find anything. I go to Long's. I finally find that they have their non-alcoholic beer, and O'Doul's, Budweiser had their own, and Heineken. But they don't have them just in like in the convenience store in Japan. You can get one or two. You got to buy the whole case, right? So I skip there. I go to Costco to see what they have. They have Heineken. So I'm thinking like, okay, Heineken, but the cost of the Heineken no alcohol beer was almost the same price as the regular beer. So of course you're thinking, well, what's the point, right? I mean, you want to save money at the same time because you're not getting the alcohol, right? So I'm thinking like, wow, what a ripoff, right? You pay not to have no alcohol, but you pay the same price. It was like 80 cents different. But the problem was for the regular beer or the light beer, you get 12, I think, ounces it was. But for the non-alcoholic Heineken, it was 11.2. So you're actually getting zero point 0.8 less beer. So in the long run, the non-alcoholic Heineken was more expensive than the regular Heineken. And I couldn't believe it. I did buy a case because I didn't realize until I came home, and it wasn't 0 calories. It's, I think, 69 calories per can. And it has, I think it was it 16 grams or something of complex carbohydrates. Whereas the Japanese brands tasted better, looked better, 0, 0, 0, 0. So my point is Japan has has a science to this. And I wanted just to show you, I don't know if I can bring this up, but if I can, I want to see, oh shoot. Okay. Can you see this? Tell me if you can see this in the comments. So this is like the Heineken, right? Let me see. And you can see that it costs $30.79 at Costco. Okay. And then this is the non-alcoholic beer. So look at the price here. This is at Costco here in Honolulu, $37.9 versus so 80 cents more. However, look at that, 11.2 ounces versus 12 ounces. So you pay more for the non-alcoholic beer and getting no alcohol. And I can't, I don't fathom, and I don't understand why. And maybe some of you in the comments can explain to me why the American breweries are not pushing that more. Because if Japan, who's a super drinking society, can now push the non-alcohol beer and it's doing quite well, why wouldn't it also sell in America eventually? And I still don't know why more American breweries don't jump in on that. But anyway, I just wanted to show you that. I was shocked and like, well, so anyway, that's what I noticed about that. And let me see. Here's Oduos, just to show some of you already know Oduos, right? Oh, shoot, it doesn't come out. I'm sorry. Oduos was the original, I think, that everybody knew, when they came out. Let me see. Oduos. So this is Oduos and Budweiser Zero, but their prices are expensive too. So almost the same as I think their regular beers. Look, I don't know I don't buy Budweiser, but this one's got 12 cans. It's $8.99. So even for a non-alcoholic beer, it's like what, $1.50 a can or something. Anyway, to me, I didn't understand like what's the point here. So there must be a whole cultural thing difference, right? And so these are the three that I have found in Hawaii, and if maybe some of you know more of them, maybe you can write in the comments. But there are Oduos, Budweiser, and Heineken. And the Heineken beer was not that good. In fact, I had my auntie, who's a very objective and critical judge, try some because she wanted to taste it. And she said to me that, oh, the Heineken, the Heineken non-alcoholic tasted junk, and that better to drink water. She was pretty hard on it. And for me, I wasn't as hard on it because I bought 24 bottles and I knew I had to drink it. I didn't want to, make it. But it wasn't, of course, it's not as good as the Japan non-alcoholic beer, but it was okay. But again, think about this. I just couldn't understand why American beer companies haven't come out with more something more of non-alcoholic beers and things. So that was one of the things. And I wanted to show you one more thing about how Asahi. Okay, so this is the Asahi Zero, the dry zero. It looks just like the regular beer, right? I mean, the can, except it says dry zero on top, and then it's right, and it says no alcohol, and number one. I guess it's the number one. So I understand why. This is the one that I drink now in Japan. I don't drink regular beer. I drink this Asahi. So if you are in Japan and you want to try, I would highly suggest. And it's only 100 yen, so 75 cents a can, compared to the other ones in America, which are not so good. So go figure, right? Go figure. Let me see. I just wanted to. Here is the color, if you can see. Oh, sorry about that. 1 second. This is the color to. Maybe you can see this. So this is the color after pouring it, and this is what it looks like, 0%. Color looks good, foam is right, you still get the burn. And again, I won't say that I was feeling like a buzz, but something was happening, And if you look on the into the ingredients of, let's see, look at this. This is the ingredients for the Asahi Zero. 0 calories, 0 protein, 0 fat. This is carbohydrates, so it's 0.4, which is very minimal or nothing. 0, what is that? Sugar. I think this is fiber, which is fine, but it's 0.4. So this is what the Japanese the Asahi Zero beer has. 0. So if you think about it, you're not gaining weight, you're not getting drunk, of course, but maybe that's a good thing that you're not drinking too much. And you can still, it's a very nourishing drink. And I went on AI and I said, what are the negative effects of Asahi Zero. And it said right now there are a couple of things that maybe have not been researched yet, but overall it's considered to be healthy, and that a lot of athletes actually use it to replenish. I don't know if it would replenish certain minerals or something. You can check on AI. But yeah, it was very interesting that they came up with that. I was just so, surprised that that's what, oh, let me show you one more then. This is the Heineken back. It's hard to see, right? But if you look at it, it has 69 calories and it has 16 grams of carbohydrates. That's not healthy. And the fat and protein were zero. So again, how come Heineken, the world champion, couldn't come up with a better model? So again, I would say the Japanese, they get it when it comes to alcohol. They know what to do and what's happening. So kudos to Japan in this. And for those of you who want to try when you go to Japan, I heard you can get it in America, but it's very expensive. But in Japan, if you buy it, like where I buy it at the discount market, it's 600 yen for six or 100 yen each. So maybe if you buy them individually, maybe they're 120 maybe, which is like $1. So, good on that, I think. And so if you have any questions or anything, I just wanted to, sorry, I went off of that in a long time. What was interesting to me though was that although in America they don't have the non-alcoholic, every place you go you see these zero sugar thing. Like so it's kind of ironic to me. Like in America, you don't have the zero beer, zero alcohol. But you have all these other things like zero sugar to lose weight. So no one is focused on the alcohol, but they focus on like maybe the sugar or the cakes or using, what is it? Like, artificial sweeteners and things, Asperamart, I can't remember the name. So this is what I see when I come to America. Wow, in Japan, you never see anything about zero sugar candy or chocolate or whatever. Nobody's worried about that. So this is another thing I noticed is that there seems to be a real consciousness about zero this, zero fat, zero this in America, but yet the alcohol is such at a low quality. It's still very expensive. So why hasn't the American breweries jumped in on this potential market? I'm sure it's there because the Japanese are transitioning in right now. And me who loved beer, is now drinking the non-alcoholic beer every day and feeling satisfied and feeling like, oh, I got away without calories, right? Okay, so anyway, that's just my 2 cents on the beer. Any comments in the sorry, I didn't see any comments. Okay, I got some comments here, so I'll just go over some of the comments here. Baba Cola, not to lie. Okay, the BO, Jeanette, output, J Star, Japan historical vintage scent, distinctly like older books. Interesting. Respectfully dusty. Interesting. Baba Cola, Honolulu helps that there is open area, so long as get trade winds, then it helps. Yes. Referring to Baba Cola's thing about the trade winds. Definitely, there are trade winds that save Hawaii. I'm here at my auntie's house. She doesn't have air conditioning. It's out in Mauna Loa, and it gets really hot in the afternoon, like super hot. And yes, it is hot. But the hot here in Hawaii, even at the hottest day, maybe like 86, 87, it's nothing like Japan. Japan is like when I was in Kyoto Nabe was, let's say 95 to 100 degrees, so 10 to 15 degrees higher Fahrenheit, and the humidity was unbearable. You just walk outside like 5 minutes and you feel like just sweating here. Yes, Hawaii in August right now is humid, and you can hear everyone say, oh, it's humid, but you cannot compare it to Japan. Japan is a whole nother world. So if you think, oh, I'm from, and a lot of people in Japan asked me that. They said, oh, you're from Hawaii, so you must like the heat. So you must like the summer in Japan. And I said, it's completely different. Well, not completely different, but it's very different. And I say, shitsuke is like the humidity. And they understand, but they don't understand. I think you have to keep going back and forth to really understand that in Hawaii, it is humid, but we have the trade winds and at night it usually tends to cool down. In Japan, they have what is called netaya. Netaya, when it's 25 degrees centigrade and higher, they call those sweltering nights, or nights that you cannot sleep, because long ago there was no air conditioning and people would just struggle to get any kind of rest. And so Hawaii drops much lower than that. Not 25 degrees is probably what, 87? I can't remember exactly. Anyway, it drops lower and you got the trades and it seems to cool down. So yes, Hawaii and Japan, very different when you talk about heat and humidity. Very, very different. As I said before in my last live stream, I would now, with Hokkaido hitting 40 degrees centigrade, which is like 104 Fahrenheit, I would not recommend anyone going to Japan in the summer. The next time to come to Japan would probably be at the end of October. Middle or end of October would probably be cooler than, again, with global warming and the shifting pattern, it's getting warmer and warmer throughout the year. Okay, Guy, vintage scent, Baba Cola, they can drink more of that without the red flush. Yeah. Mosunube, as a non-drinker, I still enjoy joining friends for beer, drink, and hydration taste. So Mosotube, are you drinking the non-alcohol beer? Sushi Kenji, really good for us who can't drink for medical reasons. Yeah, so for those who cannot drink or turn red or have allergy, then the non-alcoholic beer fits those. That's why even in America, you must have people who are allergic or cannot drink. Why wouldn't that be a market for the American breweries or even Heineken? Mosotube says, yes, lower demand and market share equals higher cost. Yeah. And I think it's the marketing too, how they market it. I really mocked and thought non-alcoholic beer in Japan would never take off because it's such a drinking society. Who's going to drink? Because I have said before in some of my live streams, when we go out for pickleball, okay, when we go to pickleball, we don't eat or drink, of course, at the where we play pickleball at the different gyms or city halls or city hall gyms or elementary schools. But when we go out, we pick a place and we go out to drink, and the Japanese drink heavily, much heavier than I do, and it's to get drunk, basically. I mean, they're not drinking to get drunk, but they don't mind drinking and getting drunk. I think I should put it that way. And it's okay, right, in Japan, if you're not drive. Of course, you don't drive. So it's very different. But the non-alcoholic market is booming. So kudos to Japan. Let's see, Sushi Kenji. I always wondered how Heineken got so popular in Hawaii in the first place. I think Heineken was just a brand, and it was kind of cool when we were young. To say, oh yeah, I'll have a Heineken, because it was the most expensive beer at that time, and we wanted to be cool, right? If not, we'd have not Bud, like Coors or Michelob. Actually, when we were young, if you said Heineken, it was the higher price beer, so you were like in a different league. That's, I think, how it was more of a prestige item, but not so much anymore. Baba Cola says green bottles was an icon image with the car scene. Yes, exactly. J Star, non-alcoholic beer was viewed as preferred beer in U.S. is tied to social identity, masculinity, and relaxing. Also, craft brewers started trending. Okay, so craft beer, are they? But aren't craft brewers doing regular alcohol beer? I don't think they're doing non-alcohol beer. Baba Cola, the beer producers in Japan are also tied to the LDP deeply and was shielded from the consumption tax increase. Yes. Actually, what had happened was, I don't know how long ago, maybe was it last year, they brought down the price of beer a little bit, and they have another sub beer. It's beer, but made with different malts or something, which puts it at a different pricing range. So you could buy the regular beer before for $3.50 a can, and the other sub beer at $2.50, and the alcohol level amount was a little bit different, and it did taste a little different, but you could get away with a cheaper beer like drink, which was actually beer. But that's how they did it. And then what they did recently is they tried to reverse that because they felt like it wasn't fair to the regular beer people. So I didn't follow it that closely, but yeah, LDP was Baba Cola. Yep, Hawaii can have high humidity like Japan, but we have trade winds which offsets. Yeah, the trades are the key. I guess when the land heats up and cools, it pushes off wind, and the reverse happens in the morning, I think. Yes, non-alcoholic here. By the way, rice pickle Pickleball thumbnail image. Oh, nice, thank you. Mike Choi. Japanese Nama beer is the best one in the world till they come 1323. I can't see that. Come up with non-caloric beer. It's going to be the best cool drink in the world. Oh, if it's a real beer with no calories, yeah, that would be the idea, right? Real beer with no calories. Then everybody would be drinking. That would be the secret or whatever. Okay, so I'm glad beer seems to be an exciting topic for everybody. But yeah, so anyway, non-alcoholic beer in Japan is on the rise. I am drinking it now. I have converted. I still enjoy regular beer, of course, but if I'm at home alone, like before I was drinking by myself, what's the point, right? So now I can drink and get that feeling. And when I come home, on a hot summer day, I just chug that beer, get the burn initially, and then feel good, and then feel a little bit tingly. I don't know why, and then finish that beer. I'm satisfied. I don't need another beer. 0 calories, 0 fat, 0 whatever, 0 carbohydrates, and I'm done. I'm thinking like, wow, that's the way to go, right? But anyway, so that's it. Another thing I wanted to talk about was so recently I've been playing quite a bit of pickleball, and what I have said this before in another live stream is that pickleball in Hawaii is like a whole different social venue, right? Because of the Hawaii idea of sharing and giving, especially with food. So I've said before, in Japan, when we play pickleball, there's no food or no, like drinking, outside of water and hydration drinks at the sites where we have pickleball. No one's having a party after or tailgating or anything. It's just you go down there, you play, and you leave. But in Hawaii, because of the whole, on the mainland they might do it, but it would never be done to the extent that Hawaii does it. Whether it's potlucks or it's bringing food, and it's something that I really realized this time that just last week we were out at in Wailaiki area, and that somebody Jimmy he brought his big gas burner, and he had just caught kajiki, marlin, I think striped marlin, and he was cooking it for everybody there, and we had about 20 people there. But yes, in pickleball in Hawaii, of course, like any place, there's usually groups, but these groups a lot of times are very generous with one another, and of course it's community, and I think it has to do with this whole idea. I think food is the language of the local Hawaii people to show their care and love for one another. It's through food that they give and they share, and everybody's happy. I don't think anybody loses weight when everybody eats at these potlucks, but I mean, like you play pickleball and then you eat those calories back. But just the idea that everyone is sharing and enjoying themselves, it's really a neat idea. And I really understand it this time more than ever that, wow, Hawaii is very special in that way, that, like they have these huge pickleball, it depends on your group, but even, like groups that are quite serious and they just go out and play, somebody brings cupcakes, somebody brings something, someone's birthday. There's always something going on, I want to show you just a couple of photos if I have them here. Let's see. And then maybe you could see what I'm talking about. So here, so this was just last week. So I joined my friend Gary's group for a while, and here is Jimmy Lamb, who went out fishing, and he usually catches, but this time his friend gave him the striped marlin, and he brings this gas stove and everything. I was going to show you a video, but the video doesn't seem to work on this eCam. And then he shares with everyone, and we have like this huge potluck. Now imagine this is like pickleball, right? At the park, brings the gas burner, brings the oil, brings the fish. So it's really wow, is all I can say. It's really quite amazing what people do in Hawaii. They bring everything. Like you can have there's rice and there's salad and there's, it's like it's a party, it's a picnic, right? You have everything going on here. Look, rice cookers, everything. I have not really brought that much at all, but they have welcomed me and allowed me to join them. But yeah, it's like serious stuff here in Hawaii. Like, and different groups are different, but the ones that I've seen, I'm going like, wow. Here, this is we also had, I remember, oh, I don't know if you can see this one. So after we had the fish and stuff, then Paul, very kind gentleman, he went out and he bought for everybody ice cream. There's a lot of people there, right? This is not like cheap. I don't know, there's like 20, 23, 24 people there, and he bought everybody like ice cream, like, and people had more than one, and I'm going like, wow. And this is for pickleball, right? Pickleball is the purpose, and but everybody's just so, um, you know, again, it's the language of love in Hawaii of the local people. I think it's really hard hard to explain unless you say. Or I was at another pickleball group, my sister's pickleball group, and it was no, I'm sorry. This was still at Wailiki. My friend Les, she gives me like this beautiful banana chocolate macadamia nut muffin. And it's like special, right? Only 11, she only had 11. I was one of the chosen 11. I was like joking that I was one of the chosen ones. But stuff like this, just like you're eating ice cream, eating this, you're eating like the fish. This is like, and this is like, every week is not as extensive like this, but every week there's food and stuff. It's like, wow. So again, I would probably say only in Hawaii. I'm sure in the mainland they might do something like this, but not to the extent of what happens in Hawaii. Here's another one of just wanted to show you. This was last week too. My sister and Gay here. It's Gay's birthday, so my sister goes and make these huge decadent cupcakes, her specialty. And so again, there's food everywhere. It's like pickleball and food are almost like part of one another. And here's the pickleball group here if you want to just take a look. So you can't really see the food. I was wanting the food. So again, pickleball, food, celebration, all of these things are very much a part of life in Hawaii. So kudos to everybody. And it's, you feel very, yeah, it's just it's just a beautiful place, and no matter where you go in Hawaii, food is always such a important thing, right? I mean, anywhere you go, right? But in Hawaii, it's always about different kinds of food, from whether it's Chinese, Japanese, Vietnamese, or Hawaiian, or American, or Western food. And just last night, we had a meeting for one of our Japanese meetings with my sister's group, and we went, and sure enough, this is like, here we go again. We just have a meeting, and this is the meal, right? Whether you have salmon, and you have dried French fish, and you have Chinese Mongolian beef, and you have Caesar chicken salad, looks like, and brown rice, and on and on and on. Anyway, food and Hawaii are really just synonymous in a way, and the sharing and the giving and celebration and just getting together, but it's always about food. And I've never seen that in Japan, because Japanese are much more, reserved. And when we eat, we go out to this place and we eat. It's not at someone's house. We rarely go to visit someone's house and have a party there. The only times I've gone to different people's homes is when they have been in America or lived in America or been educated in America, and they come back and they're used to that style of inviting someone to their home or their condominium. But otherwise, we always hold it outside. And a lot of times the excuse was Japanese homes are much smaller and that they don't have the space, and so they feel embarrassed, or their house is too cluttered. But and that is true to a point, but yet it's just not a custom. Where in America or in Hawaii also, people get invited to each other's homes a lot. It's a kind of an American thing, I think. The whole inviting to America. So yes, food, pickleball, all part of it. Let me go back to the comments now. Let's see. Oh, Wally, good to see you again from Canada. JSTAR, just like Alaska and indigenous. Okay, so yeah, when I was in Alaska too, yeah, Stella had also talked about the indigenous people always sharing, very social style. Brainbridge Island, the birthplace of pickleball tailgate. Yeah, okay, they have tailgating there, I guess. So there must be other forms which are a little bit different and maybe similar in some degree, but I haven't seen the tailgating for pickleball here. But yeah, the indigenous people do that. I remember when I was in Alaska. So anyway, that's what I see pickleball difference. And one more thing, as I said before, is pickleball will boom and explode in Japan, but the problem is they don't have the courts. Pickleball needs to be either on a hard court, and then you can convert a tennis court into maybe one tennis court can be two pickleball courts, or you play inside, which is not always that common, not in Hawaii, or you have to pay for it. But in Japan, because it's normally too cold in the winter and too humid in the summer, we always have to play inside. That means that we have to borrow like an elementary school gym when they're not using it on Saturday, or we have to go to the city hall sports area, and then you're competing with like handball and squash and badminton, and you just got a little spot. So it's hard to get space. So that's the biggest challenge for pickleball to take off in Japan. But if they ever take care of the courts problem, then it's going to go boom, because over 60% of Japanese are over 60, and those would be the best target, because pickleball, if you're at whatever age, if you can move, you can still play. So I think it's going to take off, but until they still have to address the court, the getting the courts, and because of the limited space. And like I live out in Kyoto Nabe, which is outside of Kyoto, about 30 minutes. And fortunately, that's actually a good place to be, because it's not so crowded, not so population dense. So we are able to have there's 3 or 4 gyms in the area that we rent. And the rent is not that much. We get maybe 6 to 8 people. It's about 300 yen, 3 to 500 yen. So what is that? $2 to $4 to rent, each person. And we rent it. But there's a guy named Daniel Moore. Some of you may have heard of him. He was raised in Japan. He's American. He came to America. He returned to America to become a pro, I think. And then now he's in, I think, the Aichi or the Nagoya area. And he is trying to promote pickleball. And he did a big session where he had 50 people. It was a limited, list. I didn't go, but a lot of the people from my Kyoto Nabe club went. And he did a very good job. Of course, he's bilingual. He can speak both ways. And he's very good. So he's trying really hard. There's another person, I forgot his name, in Tokyo, Nathan, I can't remember his name, sorry. But so people are trying to promote it. But again, I really think it comes down to the courts. Without the court, the space to play, then it can't take off. That's why it's still very, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to learn too. I thought, oh, maybe I could become better and I could maybe teach or do something later. But again, it depends on the court. So it's slow. I would say maybe another 3 years, maybe, before it really kind of takes off because of the court problem. But there are some places that are building indoor courts. But again, space and costs are so expensive, right? And there's like this place in Kyoto, Fushimi, that they built this nice court like within a factory. The problem is there's no AC in there. So it gets really hot. And I think it's a shoyu or it's some kind of food production. So there's a smell, not a bad smell, but there's a smell. And it's very hot in there. And it costs, I think it was 4,000 yen. So it's like $30 an hour or something. So it's quite expensive compared to what we normally pay, which is like, so if you have like 4 people, that's $10 each versus we're paying, that's an hour, where we're paying now maybe 300 to 400 yen for 3 hours, 100 yen an hour. So very, very, very big difference. So again, that's one of the major problems. Okay, J Star, okay. Mike Choi, are you, no, I'm still living in Kyoto Nabe. I'm just here for a couple of months. Came to visit and help out my auntie here in Hawaii. And so, but I'll be taking off again at the end of September. Okay, a couple other things I wanted to talk about. Oh, I was talking about the matcha shortage, because in my last live stream, I talked about how, okay, just like non-alcohol beer and decaffeinated coffee, I was always kind of making fun of it, right? Like, well, matcha was another one. I thought, who's going to buy? Only Japanese are going to drink matcha because it's very bitter and the art of making tea. I said, no foreigner or Western is going to go through all that trouble unless you're really a Japan lover. But again, I was wrong. And matcha, there's a matcha boom going on. So there's a matcha shortage in Japan. And so, prices have gone up, and they're probably going up higher now with the tariffs, especially with, Trump's tariffs, probably going to be even higher. And all the little things like the device, not the devices, but what would you call them? The items or the instruments, like the whisk to mix the tea and things, or the little, what do you call it? Shakuji? It's like a little thing that you take the tea and put it in, or the little handkerchief that you do that little move. I took tea for a couple of years, so I know a little bit about it. But that actually is selling well, and there's a shortage of those whisks to mix the tea. And I always thought, who would do that, right? Anyway, my cousin Cheryl and her husband Guy, they love matcha, right? So I was telling them so, and they drink it almost every day, 5 days a week, I think it was. And I said, so how do you mix it? You gotta mix it, and it's so hard, takes so long, right? Well, they told me about this item when they came to Japan, and I was taking them around, and it's this. It's the automatic magnetic stirring cup, and I guess you can get it on Amazon. I just got it last night from Guy, but my cousin Cheryl was telling me about it, and you connect it with a USB card. But I don't know how many of you have seen this, and it mixes it. So there's like a magnet inside. I don't know if you can see that, kind of hard. There's a magnet inside. I guess you put the powder and you put the hot water in, and be sure to cover it. And you plug it in, and it speed mixes it, and then you get like real well mixed matcha. Oh, one thing my cousin did say, and what's really kind of important, was that if you're gonna use this this mixer, please to let me see if I can show you. 1 second, please. Let's see here. So my cousin Cheryl, she helped me with this. She said that please sift it. You need to sift the matcha, because if you sift, I hope all of you can see this. You need to sift the matcha, because if not, it becomes clumpy and it doesn't disperse or mix very well. So if you get this item, be sure that you sift the matcha, add your hot water, and voila, you have your instant or full matcha. So thank you, Cheryl and Guy. And anyway, I got mine right here, but I don't have matcha. but you can make coffee with this, or soup, or whatever. But I thought, what a brilliant idea, right? Because matcha to make is really kind of hard, and if you have to mix it, it gets all clumpy and bumpy, and if you drink it, it's bad. This makes it smooth and creamy, I guess. So anybody interested, I guess on Amazon, it's this. The automatic, I don't know what it costs. Automatic magnetic stirring cup, can be used for soup and things. And I am not a sponsor for them. I'm just telling you what I heard from Cheryl, and she told me about this last year on the trip, and then they gave me one, because I was talking about, wow, that what a neat thing to have. So, and it charges by USB. So if a USB cord that they have too. Anyway, thank you, Cheryl. Great idea and thing. I also want to, excuse me. Let me see about how to increase. Okay, let's see. I'm going to go back one more time to this. Let's see, Babacola. They're about to increase the business via management. They about to increase the business visa manager requirement for Japan, I heard. Okay, that's good. Ito N stock prices on the Nikkei is still getting plummeted. Oh, that's too bad, because my sister and Cheryl said that Ito N matcha at Costco is $27 plus, and that's like the best price you can get. I was hoping Ito N would be doing better, but I guess not so. As I said last week, the last live stream, Japan is struggling a lot, and they are still having a really hard time. So if you want to go to Japan, and I said before, everybody has a Japan story. Wherever I go in Hawaii, when I'm at the Pickleball group, where there's 20 people, almost everybody has a Japan story. Everybody has been to Japan at least once. So people have always something to talk to me about. It's just like being from Hawaii, right? before when I was a student or I was traveling Japan or wherever, not everybody, but almost everybody had a Hawaii story that they wanted to go or they had gone, or in Japan they had gone on their honeymoon. And it was easy to make friends because people would come up and talk to you if you're from Hawaii. That's just like now in the Japan story. Everybody has a Japan story, and that's what's so interesting. But please go, because Japan needs the tourists, the foreign tourists, the revenue, and it's for the economy because they're really struggling now. And with the high tariffs that are coming from Donald Trump, plus the inflation is rising, and just the struggle. It's going to be a hard road for Japan. So any help by just going, and you're getting a 30 to 40% discount in a way if the yen is at 150 and it's like a fire sale, like I always say. Go ahead, enjoy yourself in Japan, help Japan. That's a win-win situation. Now, as many of you know, it's very, very crowded, at certain times, at certain places. So if you can space it out or time it, and as I always talk about, the Japan systems are what always frustrate me. So just be prepared. For example, I was just talking to Debbie from Pickleball, another pickleball group yesterday, and she was telling me how she's going to Fukuoka and they wanted to go to the expo in Osaka, and so they're trying to do it, and you try to do it online and they have it in English, but they make you do so many different things, like, okay, you have to apply for this by the 30 to 60 days, and then if you don't do this, you have to do this, and this. I always say they make you jump like 10 extra loops. And then so even though it's in English, it's done in Japanese style or Japanese mentality. And so for foreigners, it's still difficult. So she almost like gave up. Then you have my sister who was trying to make a reservation at this kind of exquisite restaurant, I think in Kanazawa. And when she went online and they said, okay, you have to, oh no, it was for the fireworks festival in Ibaraki, or was it in Tokyo? I can't remember. In October. And to get tickets, you had to do this by between 30 days to 60 days. And then it would be sent to, you needed a Japanese address because you had to send it to a Japanese address. And it was like 6 steps. And my sister's really tenacious. And even it even frustrated her. And, to beat my sister is really quite tough. But yes, everything in Japan, and anything that comes to systems, can make you crazy. And it's just because there are no critical thinkers on how to make it more effective. I'm going to do a Shimanami Kaido tour again with my Alaska friends and my classmate and his wife in October again. And you know what? I've been working with this rental bicycle place. This is my 3rd year. Same thing. I'm still struggling. It took me 3 weeks to finally get an okay, and we're still negotiating now. And yes, there was part of me that I assumed that you could get more than 6, like more than so many e-bikes, because we need 6 e-bikes for 6 days. The problem is, they keep telling me that you can't make a reservation for more than 1 day, and I keep writing them and having it translated by Deep L program saying, yes, I understand your policy. I would like to make 6 individual reservations. I send that to them, and they write back to me. Our policy, I'm sorry, Mr. Matsuno, our policy says you cannot rent the e-bike for more than 1 day or make a reservation more. And it's like 3 times that happened. And this is with the same company that I used 2 years before. This is my 3rd year. And I had a similar problem last year. And so it's like, nothing gets fixed, especially in rural Japan. So just remember, I suggest all of you go to rural Japan more than staying in the city. Once you do the Marco Polo route, Tokyo, Osaka, Nara, maybe Hiroshima, maybe then start to venture out. But when you venture out, if you're dealing with systems and reservations, it will be challenging. But again, once you get there, it's great. It's just getting the arrangements, whether it's the reservation or the hotel reservation or the fireworks ticket or whatever, And like I always say, even with the Shinkansen tickets and things, I would rather wait in that line for the counter to get a human being so I can work and talk to him than trying to use the machines that does have English. But again, the system is in Japanese style thinking, and sometimes the English is strange. So if you make a mistake on the machines and there's like 50 people waiting behind you, people are going to be mad because you're going to be stuck. At the same time, if you make a mistake, you still got to go back in the counter line and wait to get that fixed. My suggestion is, if the line is not too long, just go to the counter line and wait. Better than going to the machine, but up to you. But it's up to you. Okay, going back to the comments here. Let's see. J Star, the wellness boom. Okay, the wellness boom. Matcha Zen antioxidants. Okay, so the wellness boom is probably leading that. Starbucks and their marketing for the matcha latte launched the boom a lot. Okay, thank you, J Star. That's interesting. Hawaiian Air canceled the Korea flight and the Fukuoka flight. I thought they were still flying to Fukuoka. My auntie is just gonna go. Just made a reservation. Only kicks on it. Are you sure about that, Baba Cola? Because my auntie just made a reservation to Fukuoka, and probably kicks on the chopping board too. Kicks. I don't know if it's because it's expensive or people are not going there. But that used to be such a hot area. But now everyone is coming through Tokyo. It seems. Sushi Kenji, Gen Z and TikTok really hyped up matcha. Okay, maybe that's what it is too. So you got the wellness boom, you got Gen Z, you got TikTok, and the matcha boom is on. It's like the matcha boom in the 90s. Okay, thank you for that. Baba Cola, November is the best month they will fly. Okay. Oh, the last month? Oh, really? She's going in November. You're kidding me. I got to tell her. Because she had figured out the route. Instead of going to Tokyo and then coming across to Kyoto, Hiroshima, flying out of Fukuoka. I mean, she was flying out of Fukuoka. I would do the reverse. How interesting. I didn't know that. Okay, so that's pretty much what I was going to talk about. I think I've covered, anything. A couple last things is that what I love about Hawaii, and I always thought it was like too many buildings, which it is. It's very crowded. There's still a lot of green. I didn't realize that until, like this time especially. It's green. Even this area. So I'm surrounded by green around, and you go to the park, everything is very, very still green. And so you still have a lot of green and a lot of, even though it's crowded, natural areas, mountains and stuff, it's still very nice. And I think because the people are so nice and in Hawaii, I always say, I think people in Hawaii are very hospitable and very nice. When it comes to friendly, I would say like typical Americans are more like the friendly people, and the Hawaii people are really the nice people. And there's a slight distinction there, how it depends how you define it. And so I think the Hawaii people are just nice, but they're not as like assertive or as friendly maybe as, let's say, the people maybe from the mainland, some of them, right? So again, there's a difference thing, but really happy to be back. It is again hot, but after Japan, after coming from 100-degree heat to here, it's really bearable. It's like, oh, I know it's hot and I'm perspiring here and, I got the windows open, but I think like, hey, after Japan, after Kyoto, because Kyoto is one of the hottest places in Japan usually, right? Kyoto. And well, now it's moving all around. Hokkaido, hit 40 degrees, 104. So very, very different. Anyway, let's see. Yeah, please don't cancel Kicks. Yeah, that would be crazy. I don't think they can cancel Kicks, but who knows, because if it's that expensive. Baba Cola says, yes, people are worried that now Kicks is next on the chopping block. Alaska wants to reposition the Seattle hub as the new international hub. Honolulu positioned for just island flights. It's going to be interesting what Alaska Airlines does too, right? I don't know if because the landing fees are so expensive in Kicks that people are now avoiding it. But I was to be a Delta flyer, right? I was always like a whatever elite card person, but they don't fly anymore. So I got all these miles and I can't really fly out of Kicks because they don't fly there. I got to use a partner carrier or something. So I don't know really what's going on there, and I don't understand why more people aren't flying into Kicks. It's probably supply and demand. And so they have ANA, JAL, flight, Hawaiian that flies to Hawaii. But outside of that, maybe one or two LCCs were. I don't know if they're still flying. It's not many. If not, you got to fly through Haneda or Narita and then to Honolulu, which is an extra stop. Why do you want to do that? So it's really, I'm kind of worried too. I hope that's not really on the chopping block. Yeah. Okay. Last thing, I'm gonna check this, and I think that'll be it for today. Let's see, Debbie. I should pay better attention to the merger strategy. Not that I can do anything, but living part time in Osaka and Hawaii, I need it. Yeah, even me. Like, how do you get out of Osaka, right? Delta is relying on Korean Airlines as their carrier to handle, yes, Asia routes and close their Narita hub, and it's now in Incheon with Korean Air. Yeah, I used to fly Korean Air a lot because of that. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen either. You know, so far Hawaiian, I can't believe Hawaiian might be thinking of closing kicks. That would be devastating for people like me or people who are flying from Kansai down. If not, it would only be Fukuoka closes, so it would only be Tokyo. That means we'd have to go to Tokyo to fly out to Honolulu, which would be really, really, really not good for us. But, well, what can we do about it? Anyway, I want to thank all of you for staying with me. If you're still here, thank you for watching and listening. I hope to be back in a couple of weeks or whenever there's something else going on. Just happy to be back here in Honolulu. It is hot, but it's nice, and it's nice to play pickleball outside. I enjoy playing pickleball outside way more than inside. I know some people say they prefer inside because there's no wind, there's no sun, it's easier, it's air conditioned, but I like playing outside. I guess it's always the opposite, right? 隣の芝生はいつも青く見える. The grass is always greener on the other side, right? Let's see, a couple more comments here. Yeah, United just disappeared, right? Baba Cola writes, United hasn't returned to Japan with Honolulu since pandemic. Yeah, you don't even see United, and they used to be #1 for the longest time. J Star says, yes, Alaska and Hawaii's best ordinances, no billboards. My youngest pointed that law out. Alaska, huge Filipino and Samoan population these days. Alaska has a huge Filipino and Samoan population. Yes. Baba Cola, United, you have to fly Guam or San Francisco or LA. Yeah, that's terrible. Thanks, Mike. Nice seeing you. Good to see you. Thanks, Jeanette. Thanks, Baba Cola. So thanks, everyone. Hope to see you again. Thank you for staying with me. Sorry I went off on the whole beer thing and the toilet thing and the pickleball thing, but that's kind of what I've noticed since I came. Enjoying being here, having a great time, and eating different kinds of food, right? Because when I live alone, I'm just eating like every day the same thing because it's a regimented thing with the air fryer. But now I get to try all of these other things, which of course means that I might put on some weight. But yes, it's great to be back and trying different kinds of food and seeing old friends and family. So again, thank you. Okay, last thing, J-Star, yes, that's gonna merge everything. My best of it. Kicks is going. What is LCCs? Bob cost, low cost carriers. Yeah. Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks for joining me. And if you're interested in more on what I talk about or what we talk about together, please subscribe and hit that like button. And I will see you on the backside. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great time. And thank you for commenting. Thank you for answering each other in the comments. That's what I like, when the community helps one another or responds, because I don't know many of the answers. But I just like to see what people are talking about. And if you have any more questions, please put them in. And after, there will be a recorded version here. And you can always put in comments about maybe another topic or something that you'd like to hear about. And if I could do it, happy to do it. So have a great weekend. Take care and have a nice and hopefully cooler August. Until next time, this is Mike from the Man in Japan, signing off. ありがとうございました。